Hi, so today I'm going to show you or speak to you about 5 powerful ways to manage your emotions. Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica K. Hairston, and I am a child psychiatrist and adult psychiatrist, and I teach empathy. I've been doing this for over 20 years now, and so of all the skills that I've learned and all the things to help people emotionally and mentally, I found empathy to be the most necessary and the most impactful. So that's why I've decided to teach more people about having empathy for themselves and empathy for others. And part of that is learning how to manage your emotions. And so I'm really excited today about this video because we're going to really talk about 5 powerful key ways to help you manage your emotions. So why is it so important to manage your emotions? First of all, it's important because if we don't learn how to manage our emotions in real time, then it sort of builds up, and then and really gets us. Things just blow up out of control in the end. And for example, let's say you. I'm sure you've had the situation of where, someone says something and you didn't like it, and you really felt a certain kind of way about what that person said, but you didn't say anything. You didn't react. You didn't do your usual, but you didn't process it either. You didn't have your usual reaction, but you didn't take time to process it. You just told yourself you're going to let it go or not think about it, not let it bother you, so on and so forth. You just kind of stuffed it. So many people are used to stuffing their emotions and not even bothering with them or acknowledging them. And so let's say you did that, but then, you keep interacting with this person, and then later down the line, you just all of a sudden, they say something, they do something, and you are triggered. And then you just blow up. And you don't really even know why you blew up as big as you did, or what made that one moment so important. Because usually it might have been something small that you might not have blown up about. And so, and then it just causes a rift in that relationship. Like, they don't want to talk to you, you don't want to talk to them, and things get all out of proportion. So that's just a small, tiny bit of what can happen when we don't process our emotions. We don't learn to manage our emotions. And when I say manage, I don't mean like put in a box. I mean just really learn to take time and acknowledge our emotions and our feelings about different matters. Because when we don't manage our emotions, we things build up, and we get into our behaviors start changing based on these unprocessed emotions. And when I say our behaviors start changing, our behaviors towards other people start changing, meaning we can, resentful and unprocessed emotions can turn into broken promises and broken relationships and miscommunications and mixed communications, where we say one thing and then actually do another because we're not fully in line or fully congruent with what we're saying and doing because we have these unprocessed feelings. And then arguments come up, boundary violations come up, like we don't treat people with the proper consideration and the proper respect. And then once boundary violations are happening, then you can get into the territory of abusive behaviors. Because of all these negative emotions that are sitting inside of you about various matters. There is something called displacement, where we take feelings from one situation and apply them to others because our feelings are just kind of sitting there and they are unprocessed. So it's really important to how we treat others, that we learn to process and manage our emotions. It's also very important for ourselves and our own health, that we learn to manage and process our emotions. For example, in how we treat ourselves, if we are stuffing in a lot of negative feelings, then our mind begins to bombard us with feelings of shame, feelings of guilt. We start blaming, assigning blame to other people, and assigning blame to ourselves for things that it's not necessary to do so. And we get into these cycles of negative thinking, and these cycles of negative thinking leads to poor choices that can hurt us, whether it's the people we choose to around, or if we begin to use alcohol, begin to use drugs, or food, or sex, or work, or so many other addictive behaviors and addictions as a way of replacing our feelings and emotions. So we pick up all types of habits that are serving the purpose of replacing us acknowledging our feelings, our emotions. And so learning how to acknowledge and feel your feelings and to manage your emotions is a life skill necessary for each of us. It's important for each of us learn to process our own emotions, because of course we can't process someone else's emotions. So it's important that, each one of us learn this skill, for our own health, our own well-being, and really just truly our safety and happiness in this world. So I'm really excited about sharing with you now these skills, because once you start incorporating and learning more about how to manage your emotions, then you can do this in real time, and you can access outlets for your creative self to be able to just begin to open up and blossom and grow, because feelings, emotions, to emote, these feelings are what move us, which move us to action. And our actions can become just beautiful, wondrous agents of change. So it's really important that we learn how to access these really powerful feelings inside. So here we go. The 5 ways. First one is pausing, learning to pause. When we are experiencing intense emotions, we need to pause, which basically means we need to be quiet, and we need to breathe, and we need to listen to what other people are saying. We need to observe what's happening around us, and we need to hear our own thoughts, what's coming up inside. We really need to learn to pause, so that we can begin to think through our responses rather than just reacting instinctively. So we need to pause, but the pause is not just to think, but it's also to observe, so that we can choose the best course of action. And so that we can take into account the actual details that we are seeing, that we are hearing, that we are feeling inside and experiencing. So when we pause, that's like our data gathering period. So it's really important to pause and to stay connected with your body and breath through that pause. And to give yourself permission in that pause to step away from the situation if you need to. So many just horrible outcomes can be averted if we can learn to just step away. So, but that begins with the pause, because if we're not pausing and we're not practicing pausing, then it's going to be it's going to be very difficult to step away in a moment. So we got to practice pausing. and pausing for so many good reasons. So the second way, powerful way of learning to manage your emotions is journaling. Is really writing down your feelings and really separating your feelings from your thoughts and learning the difference, and then asking yourself questions and writing down answers and pondering and reflecting and revising. When you journal, this is the opportunity for you to start revising your behaviors. Really selecting out the positive and better choices that you want to keep, and really learning in this moment to look at and say, these are my reasons for letting go of these negative behaviors. So when you do that, you are actually creating a chronicle of your own life that's very powerful for going back and reflecting, especially if people are in your ear or saying things that are not in line with you or not accurate for you. When you go back and read your own writings, then you get to see where you really are and what you really think. And if you want to change that, you can. You get to actually see the revisions in your life, and it makes it much more tangible for you to continue to grow and learn and become. So journaling is a very positive and very powerful, impactful skill and way of managing your emotions. All right, 3, having a trusted confidant. That's the best way I can say it. Having a trusted confidant. First of all, that means learning who you can and cannot trust. And 2, a confidant is someone who's not going to repeat what you say. And sometimes you may go through periods of life where there is not a trusted confidant around, and so it's not always accessible to you. But when it is accessible, have a trusted confidant, and that trusted confidant can be a therapist. I can't stress enough, or let me just emphasize to you right now that having a therapist in your life that is a trusted confidant, someone you enjoy speaking to, someone who is receptive and engaging and gives back to you, is a very powerful way of processing your emotions, because it allows for interchange and it allows for exchange. This should be someone you feel open and confident with, and someone who is not judgmental, who is giving you ideas and reflections and messages that are encouraging and uplifting to you, and not downplaying you at all, but really seeing you, the best part of you inside of you when you can't even see it. So having one person or more than one person in your life, well, really, it's just like fertilizer for your soil. I mean, it really helps you to grow. And so having trusted confidants in your life is a very powerful way of learning to manage your emotions. All right, number 4. Can't stress this enough, or let me stress this even, or let me emphasize this even more, is that having empathy for yourself first. Learning empathy, giving yourself empathy. And when I say empathy, I mean acknowledging you and your needs. That our actions, our feelings, our behaviors are coming from unmet needs. And so it's really important for us to really take a look and give time, consideration, presence, and acknowledgement to our needs. When we do, we can understand this is my why. This is why this is so important to me. This is why I am pursuing this. This is my why I am saying these things, and why it hurts so much to not be received and not to be engaged, or this person or this situation not happening the way I expect it to. This is the why. It's because I'm looking to fulfill this need. When we start engaging and learning about our needs, we learn so much about ourselves. And when we learn to manage ourselves, when we learn to shape our own actions and our thoughts, and then we can do this in a very loving and forgiving way when we engage the skill of empathy. Because, we are not perfect. Nothing we do is perfect. And even if it was perfect for us, it's not going to be perfect for all the people we interact with. So because we are spiritual beings having this very human experience, this very real human experience, that it's important for us to be able to develop this quality of empathy for ourselves, acknowledging what our needs are and how they come in contact with reality, and whether our needs are met in reality or they're not met in reality, and then to begin to approach how we want to address that. That is real empathy for yourself. And so that's really important. And once you have empathy for yourself, then you can have empathy for others. So then you can take a look at your needs, you can look at the needs of others, and you can hold them equal in importance, and equal in consideration and intention as you begin to act. So empathy, having empathy for yourself, understanding your needs, your why, is just a wonderful, wonderful way of dressing your feelings. All right. So number five is great because number five is, now that you are acknowledging your feelings, then you can take them and have and create creative outlets for yourself through your emotions. So 5 is having creative outlets, and to really to have this exploration of what are creative outlets for you. And you may realize that you have many. It's not just one. That it could be dance, it could be dramatic acting, it could be planting a garden, it could be painting, it could be sculpting, it could be making music, it could be coloring, it could be writing stories, it could be writing music, it could be writing poetry, it could be writing stories. So much that we can do. It could be the way you do your hair, or hairstyling, or braiding, or designing clothes, designing furniture, designing a home. Like, when we take all these negative emotions, and then when we take our positive emotions and we put them into action, into creative action, then we just come in contact with this just really beautiful sense of capability and competence and authority and power within us to as creative beings. And so when we tap into that, we grow, and we give permission to other people to grow in this way, because we get to shine, we get to show our brilliance in this moment. We get to absolutely be truly brilliant with our talents, what we do. And we can use this to transform negative emotions, or to give even greater expression to positive emotions. So once again, emotions, they move us, we emote. They cause us to spring into action. And when we find creative outlets for our feelings, then we get to connect and we get to vibe with people in a way that we didn't before. And so this is amazing. It's so amazing to see someone else's brilliance and to remark on that. just like when we were watching the Olympics this year, it's so amazing to see other people doing amazing things. But you don't have to be an athlete. There's no requirement to you to be an athlete. You can have your own creative outlets, whatever it could be. It could be, whittling. It could be like folding paper, origami. It could be so many just wonderful things. So I encourage you to find your creative outlet and use it for expressing yourself positively and to transforming those negative emotions as well, because it will give you a great sense of relief and a great sense about yourself. So those are the 5. Just to recap, 1 is taking a pause when you're experiencing intense emotions. 2, journaling your experiences. 3, having a trusted confidant. 4, giving yourself empathy. And 5 is finding creative outlets for your emotions. So I really hope you found this valuable today. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. If you like this video and want more, please do like this page and subscribe, and we'll keep going with the videos. Thank you so much and have a great one. Take care.